right, good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful Wednesday, November 5, year of our Lord 2025. My Picardo's jeweler watch tells me it's 9:13, almost 9:14. And this is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. Broadcasting today from the United States of America. I'm a little confused about that, but I know it's still my country, and it's the place for the brave. Like the veterans we salute today, thanks to our friend John Basiliga and his great Basiliga hospitality. Like Matthew Casciano, West Scranton. Colonel Wirewood Goose Gowell, Scranton, and Jack Walsh, North Abington Township. We lost them this year, but celebrate them today. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible, amazing, irreplaceable founding fathers. That government is not, shall not be, cannot be our parent, our guide, our salvation, our direction, not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, no matter how they use it. We know better. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny created the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. And so, we gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, letting you know that this program will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. Well, we're in need of a sanctuary of sanity today, myself included. That was a suggestion from Paul from 40 Fort. What a blowout. What a disaster yesterday was. My God. From Mayor of Scranton, County Commissioner, not so much in Lackawanna County. I don't have all the vote totals because we don't have a real newspaper around here. I don't have all the vote totals. I wanted to know what happened with the races in Luzerne County in particular. We'll find out during the course of the program. But, New Jersey, down. New York City, the communist Islamist. Virginia, blowout. The guy who fantasized about killing a political opponent's kids won for attorney general. So have people gone insane? No. The left, which is insane, was highly, highly motivated in this race, beyond anything I thought was possible. So, we play The Battle is Over, but the war goes on. Levon Helm, provided by our man Mark Mayer. You just look at it and say, you got to be kidding me. I am seriously considering moving out of Scranton. And I mean seriously, because the people there apparently don't know the difference between good government and bad government, good mayors and bad ones. And what was being revealed as I was having numbers provided to me last night was that the Dummycrats were out in full force. They were just voting Democrat, period. Not independent. Even if that person was a registered Democrat, they were voting Dummycrat. They don't care about anything but that. It's astonishing. That's Lackawanna County now. And then, I mean, remember, Lackawanna County is the place where the John Fetterman won 59% of the vote. They're insane. That's my home county. Should I move out of the county? It would be too inconvenient, probably. But, wow. You talk about ignorant voters who clinging to this political party that doesn't even exist. It's frightening. It's truly frightening. And guys, I don't know. The point is this. The battle is over, and that's as of last November. We got rid of Biden and all the sickening sycophants and all of the disgraceful policies for the moment. But we have to be ever vigilant. The other one that was devastating to this state is the retention of the 3 Supreme Court justices. Ron from Mountaintop telling me Bob basically a grand slam in Luzerne County for the Democrats. It's unbelievable. It's truly unreal. And somebody was saying, well, the Trump, and I said, wait a minute. First of all, these were individual races. You take Virginia, New Jersey, etc. Had nothing to do with Trump. And again, for a normal human being, that would be sufficient. It'd be obvious. But for a Dummycrat, for a left-wing lunatic, it doesn't matter. Lies are what works for them, and that's what they base their actions on. And that's where we're at, guys. And not enough Republicans. When you see the vote totals, and you'll see how many people actually turned out, you will say to yourself, they just voted Democrat. And Republicans and normal voters did not turn out. They didn't do their job. They didn't do their civic duty. We're going to see. All right, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. November 5th, 1960, Murph tells us that Johnny Horton, you hear him singing that song, he died when his Cadillac was hit by a drunk truck driver after a concert at the Skyline in Austin, Texas. He had the number one hit just the year before, 1959, with the Battle of New Orleans. That's a good song. I like that a lot. And then FDR, third term, unprecedented. Nobody had done it before. And no one's done it since because they realized how sick Franklin Roosevelt was, how ill he was, how weak he was. But he was a leader. He was a great leader. And the thing about the 1940 election that people forget, and it's because there's a certain lore, we had dipped deeply back into a depression, economic depression, in 1937 because everything Franklin Roosevelt had done, the entire New Deal, had failed. As government always does, by the way. He did not bring the economy back, so it was not a foregone conclusion that he would win a third and then a fourth term because the economy was in a disaster. Now, we were starting the buildup in 1940 for World War II, and that's what revived the economy. But he didn't do anything for the economy. The New Deal did nothing. And that's how the lore goes. That the people who think that more government is compassionate somehow. And it's actually the opposite. Somebody says, I hope every common sense person who's listening remembers this election. Democrats are motivated by hate and envy and will be out in force for the next election when they will have to defeat the other Hitler that they will be for them. That's J.D. Vance. Well, it could be J.D. It doesn't matter. I'll say this, though, Tom. I think that there's a special level of vitriol and hatred for Donald Trump that no one else could create. Slick says, well, Bob, LTS, if there's a silver lining to the new New York mayor, I know the value of my house will increase because there'll be a mass exodus from New York City. Well, Slick, you might be right. Somebody else, hey, Bob, I'm with you. What's wrong with the Dummycrats? You think they would have learned something from 4 years of Biden. Now I realize how stupid these people are. Well, it's a willful ignorance. It's stupid actions, but it's a willful ignorance. They just don't pay attention to any facts that are contrary to their position, to their beliefs. Like, we listen, we take in new information, and we make decisions based on the new information. They don't do that. Another, Bob, do the Democrats of Scranton and Lackawanna consider it a badge of honor to consistently vote Democrat? Yes, they do. People in the other counties look at Lackawanna County as a weird cult of brainwashed voters, says this listener. How many generations of voter in Lackawanna County will continue this pattern? I mean, we're so far past what the old Democrat Party was, I don't even know what to say. Well, somebody else, again, a lefty, probably misinterpreting what I said. Nothing to do with Trump. Dude, it has everything to do with Trump. The worst president ever. And spit always flows downhill. He needs to pick up more guys riding their bikes to work. I don't even know what that is. So you're saying that the governor's race, so let me restate the point for those who are hard of hearing, and you and many of you who new facts will not be absorbed. Let me restate what I said. The Democrats running for office, from Mamdani to New Jersey to Virginia, to the state Supreme Court justices who were retained, they all ran against Donald Trump, and their elections and their positions had nothing to do with Donald Trump. So they based their entire campaigns on a lie that somehow they were anti-Trump or were going to do something, or that everything bad that had happened to people was as a result of Donald Trump, and it was all a lie. Now, I hope you can understand that. I hope you can understand how irrational it would be to vote for governor or attorney general in Virginia based on hatred of Donald Trump. If you don't understand that, there's something wrong with you, as there are with the majority of voters in Jersey, New York City, and Virginia. There really is something wrong with you. What did any of those jobs have to do with Donald Trump? But Mayor of Scranton running against Donald Trump. And she did. And she won. The same fool says you complain about the vitriol, then you and your listeners call them dummycrats. Well, you are. I mean, wait a minute. There's a difference between vitriol and truth. You're a dumb voter if you voted for the Democrats. Again, in all these places. New Jersey, suffering under left-wing policies, voted in another left-winger because she said she was against Donald Trump, which Trump had nothing to do with New Jersey's woes. Same thing in New York City, same thing in Virginia. Nothing. So there's no logic. Zero. But it's what it is. Yeah, somebody's saddened by the apathy of Republican voters by not voting. They didn't vote. They didn't come out. And by the way, they don't generally. They live their lives, and they'll come around for the presidential race generally. Somebody said, Bob, I know a lot of Republicans who voted Democrat yesterday. Well, depending on who the Democrat was, shame on them. I voted Democrat. I voted for a number of Democrats. No big deal. The question is, were they qualified Democrats? Were they people who actually achieve in their office? Are they people that don't lie to you about fake accomplishments and boogeymen like Trump? Saying that, oh, my God, Donald Trump. Oh, my God, they'll never get an abortion again. You know, all of that. So I voted for Democrats who didn't lie to me, who didn't base their campaigns on lies. And I have no problem with that. The issue is, if you're voting Democrat because of some boogeyman that they've invented, if you're falling for their lies, there's something wrong with you. There really is. And you better address it. Scary, scary, scary. In any event, we'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK, Veterans Tribute, after we hear from our great sponsors. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our man, John Basiliga. And as we head towards the weekend, Basiliga Hospitality. The 3 bar restaurants that are just fantastic. Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. Love that place. Far Street Tavern in the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The reimagined neighborhood bar. And then the Old Brook Inn. I was there Sunday. Just fabulous. 307 Springbrook Township. And then fine dining. The Stegmeyer Mansion. Old, classic. It's like going to Newport and having dinner in one of the mansions you tour. And then a Terra 519. I was there last night with Cutie. Beyond enjoyable. And always fabulous. Matthew Casciano III. We lost him October 23rd at just the age of 50. He was a resident of West Scranton. Born in Scranton. West Scranton High School, class of 1993. He was always a talented fixer, jack of all trades. After graduation, he worked as a painter and a laborer in the construction field. Matt was a proud veteran of the United States Marines. He was an outdoorsman. He loved golfing, hiking, Notre Dame, the Steelers, most of all his daughters and family. In addition to his mother and stepfather, Matt is survived by 3 daughters, all in this area, a stepson, grandchildren, a sister, and his grandmother, as well as other family members. A veteran lost, Matthew Casciano. Brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly sunny, increasing clouds and showers by evening, but it's going to get up to about 60, 47 outside the studio right now. Tonight, cloudy with showers, 42. Thursday, partly cloudy, windy and chilly, 48 degrees. Friday, cloudy with showers likely late in the day, high 57. So I was talking, do I have something, Bulldog? Play it. The Who. Murph tells us that on this date, 1965, they released their hit single, My Generation. Now, a friend of mine just sent me something that it's in my topics today, and I might as well get to it now. We're going to see this phoniness, this house of lies that the leadership of the Democrat Party has constructed. I believe we're going to see it because as the polls were closing last night, Senate Democrats were meeting to try to reopen the government with about 12 in serious talks to strike a deal. All of this shutdown, and we knew this, was nothing but a game for these people. Nothing but a game. It's quite astonishing. We played that montage of the shutdown, and I'm telling you, like, it's so phony, it's hard to actually believe it. I'm astonished by it. Another thing I'm reminded of, we have Josh Shapiro, our awful governor. He gave $5 million of your money to expand a Muslim school in Philadelphia. Now, he refuses to support school choice. He refuses to even let kids in failing public schools go to other public schools. But he's given $5 million to a Muslim school. Could you imagine if he gave $5 million to a Catholic school? This is the level of insanity that the Democrat Party has descended to. Somebody texting, Bob, I'll be honest, I like Rob Bresnahan, but if Trump gets involved in his campaign or he totes Trump, I don't know what that means. I won't vote for him this time. I don't even know what you're talking about. Seriously. You sound dumb. Please text in again, because I don't understand what you're saying. If Donald Trump, and please tell me what Trump has done wrong. That's what I want to know. I really want to know. All of his policies are good. All of them are working. Internationally, domestically, I'm not getting it. I don't get your point. So you're going to vote for a left-wing lunatic like Paige Cognetti over Rob Bresnahan if Trump gets involved. That's derangement syndrome. Do you understand that? Seriously. Do you understand that there's something wrong with you? Please understand that. And I say that with compassion. I have a lot of friends who have it. And you gotta snap out of it. You're going to vote against your own interest. You're going to vote for a lunatic, is what you're telling me, because of Donald Trump. It's exactly what I was saying about Virginia, New Jersey, and New York City. Are you kidding me? That's insane. That's insane. Dear Lord. Bloomberg Money Minute. We'll be back. The Monkees. Murph tells us this date, 1966, they had the #1 hit with their first single. How about that? Last Train to Clarksville. Bob Cordaro back with you on WILK. Yeah, this, I mean, how do you base your entire life, your entire career on a lie? That's what people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer do. That's what Barack Obama does. That's what they all do. It's crazy. They lie to themselves that they're actually accomplishing things. They lie to themselves that they are morally superior. I mean, that's all they do. And then when they tell you, Lila, well, this is not a Democrat shutdown. A friend of mine sent me this, Rush Limbaugh. It comes to the core of our differences. He said, liberals measure compassion by how many people are given welfare. Conservatives measure compassion by how many people no longer need it. There it is. There it is. Somebody texting Bob, sadly, the march to socialism is on. Right now, there are not enough of them to be able to push radically their agenda. Oh, by the way, but it's communists and Islamists. There's a merger now. I have a little clip I'm playing later in the day. It's worse than that. But the listener continues, there's not enough of them to be able to push their radical agenda. But as more of them run in states, they will slowly get the majority. And like I've been saying, when I quote, when I use as an analogy Hemingway, how does it happen? A little by little, and then all of a sudden. Hey, somebody texted in, this is cute. The last train to Clarksville was about meeting his girl before going to Vietnam. How neat is that? In Britain, I guess, right? I'd assume Britain if it's the Monkees, but maybe they were talking about here. Okay. Give me a little more info on that. All right, well, my Bacardo Jewelers watch says it's 10:01. That means I got to go to the news. And that means we've got a lot of stuff coming in our next hour and for the next 2 hours, actually. And that's important because we got Chris Coyne checking in, and he's going to talk about this big fight card down at Mohegan Sun this Saturday. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to talk to Mark Duda, the Lackawanna College football coach who's retiring at the end of this year, who has done an amazing job. Great stuff. Looking forward to both. We'll talk, because we can't just talk politics the rest of the day. I'll tear my hair out. We'll be back after the news. great good morning, everyone. 10:09 a.m. according to my Picardo Jewelers watch. And it is a beautiful Wednesday, November 5, 2025, here in the great Northeast. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and just one of his great companies, Basiliga Hospitality, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we lost this year and last, but celebrate today thanks to John. Matthew Casciano, West Scranton. Y. Gowell, Scranton. Jack Walsh, North Abington Township. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that because of our commitment to common sense, we will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you. Tyler Cornell's in the studio here. He's got a traffic report brought to you by Lisa Durden.
Yes, thank you, Lisa.
What do you got?
So it is an accident at the intersection of Route 315 and Oak Street in Pittston. It's created bumper to bumper in all directions. Backups on the ramp from 81 North. There are delays on Keystone Avenue and Oak Street. Northbound on 315 is backed up past Ross Road, and southbound is backlogged all the way to the ramp onto the PA Turnpike. So
if you're trying to get to Pittston or out of Pittston, check another route.
I would check another route because, I mean, every which way, every single direction, if you're coming from 81 North or you're coming from anywhere else, like it's really bad. It's a mess. Our afternoon guy, EJ, had emailed and said normally this stuff should last only about an hour, but that's normally in all caps. So we'll see. Hopefully within the next hour or so they'll have it cleaned up, but it's looking pretty bad.
Well,
right
let
now.
me know when it's clear so I can let everybody know.
And I was going to say one more thing I had noticed while I was researching that after Lisa emailed us. There is bumper-to-bumper traffic due to road work southbound on the Cross Valley in Kingston. The delays extend between Union and South River Streets, and that work is estimated to be completed about like 3:30 this afternoon. So if you're on the Cross Valley southbound,
it's an all-day deal.
Basically an all-day thing, and that one's kind of bumper-to-bumper right now too. So hopefully by the afternoon it'll be a little more moderate, but I think right now they just started up, so just be careful.
Tyler Cornell.
Thank you.
He gets all his information from Lisa, so how can it be wrong? Hey, my man Mark from Hazleton sent me the New York Post cover, and it's always great. It says, "On your marks, get set, Zoe." Socialist Mamdani wins race for mayor, the red apple. Yes, I'm laughing, but it's sad all the same. Hey, something quickly. I got to get back to this. So I want to finish this last train to Clarksville thing because, as always, I get to learn from our listeners. Last Train to Clarksville by the Monkees is a subtle protest song about a soldier leaving for the Vietnam War, with the lyrics conveying a soldier asking his girlfriend to meet him at the train station for one last time before he's deployed. The line, "and I don't know if I'm ever coming home," is an indirect reference to the dangers of the war, though the song's upbeat pop sound was intended to make it accessible to a wide audience without being explicitly banned as a protest song. Yeah, they used to do that back when. The name Clarksville was chosen because it sounded good, but it coincidentally fit the storyline because of its proximity to Fort Campbell, the Army base where soldiers were deployed to Vietnam. How about that? And somebody else, even though they disagree with me on politics, texted in that, and I did not know this, all of the Monkees were American except for Davy Jones. As Johnny Carson would say, I did not know that. How about that? I'll try to get to your other point later, but that was an important thing. The Monkees were American. And I used to watch the show as a little tiny kid and never knew that. So you learn something. Literally, I do every day. And I learned something from you guys. That's why I like hanging around with you. That's why I trudge down here each day, because I like hanging around with you. In any event, Mother Teresa for November 5, because I don't want to forget it. Bring prayer back into your family life, and you will experience unity and a joyful love that will bind you together. Maybe there is suffering in your family, but praying together, sharing together, loving together will help you. Now that is great advice from St. Teresa. Thank you, Mary Regina. Absolutely beautiful. And she's just, gosh, how great. How great is she? My mother's saying we're having a problem with the traffic or the signal, Bulldog, on the radio. Do you know anything about this? I just check with our engineer. I think she listens to 103.1. She'll tell me, but check on that. Because I guess it's going in and out or something, the signal. In any event, there is a great fight card going on Saturday at Mohegan Sun. My godson, my nephew, Rocco Cordaro, is going to be fighting, and it's a great lineup. And we've talked to him before. Chris Coyne is the guy promoting and the guy who put it all together. Chris, I'm all amped up about this because I used to go to the fights in AC when Trump used to host them, ironically, or actually coincidentally. Trump used to host them, and we would go to the convention center and watch the fight, and then you'd go into his casino. And this is going to be the same kind of feel. I think it's a tremendous idea.
Well, it's going to be the same kind of feel casino-wise and fighter talent-wise. I don't know if you could exactly put me in the same category and classification as promoter Donald Trump, but it's going to be a great show.
Tell us about it. We had some changes, but the basis of the card is still intact. Who do we have?
I don't think there's ever been a professional fight card, Bobby, where there hasn't been changes. And we've gone through to come out. You always make extra fights. You always try to get a couple extra fights on the card because you know something's going to happen to someone along the line. Someone's not going to pass an exam, be it a physical, something to do with a neurological exam, something to do with an eye exam. So you try to make 10 or 11 fights to hopefully come out fight night with 8 or 9 fights if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So we probably put together over 30 fights for this one that we're, because you're always going to get them denied from the commission, or there's so many variables.
It's incredible. It's herding cats.
As
we discussed last time you were on, you did it all yourself. I mean, it's so much to go through, from physical to, you're right. I mean, it's a myriad issues that have to be dealt with. So tell me as of today, who are we expecting to see on Saturday?
Well, as of right now, I think the card now, everything is pretty much done, and everything is pretty much gone through as far as medicals and exams and all that. So we have some fantastic guys on here. We have a kid named Haven Brady Jr. He's from Atlanta. He's 16-0. Another guy, Yuri Castillo. He's 14-0. We have Anthony Muda, who's 3-0. Your nephew, Rocco Cordaro, who's 5-0. Ryan Wilczak from Scranton. He's got only 2 losses against 11 wins. Another young man, Edward Humane Jr. He's 9-2 with only 2 losses. So there's a common theme here. There's a lot of O's on the end of these guys, and even the ones that have a loss or two, they have big numbers in front of their names.
Neat. So, what time does the card start at the Mohegan Sun Ballroom? What time?
Well, the doors open at 6 p.m. and the actual bouts start at 7. The first bout will be in the ring by 7.
And I know tickets have sold well, but there's still some seats available?
There's still some seats available. Yeah, we're reserve seating is probably 90% sold out. So it's going to be hard to get a reserve seat, but there's always general admission tickets available. And there will be general admission seating as well. Well,
this is going to be fun Saturday night. I can't wait. I'm so excited about it. Thank you for doing it. And keep it all together as best you can until Saturday. I know it'll be a great card, though. I know it'll be a great card.
It's going to be. It's going to be an exciting card. It's going to be something really exciting for the area. Something different. We haven't had a big big professional boxing show in the area in quite some time. So.
I know it. Love it. Thank you. Chris Coyne, professional boxing, Mohegan Sun at the casino on Saturday. We're looking forward to it. Thank you again, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, man. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. Murph tells us that this date, 1977, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, they debuted on the charts with their first single, Breakdown. And, of course, many of you would recognize that voice. This date, 1968, Richard M. Nixon. He wins the presidency, defeating Democrat Hubert H. Humphrey, the vice president, and George Wallace, the nutball, running as an independent, who probably stole more votes from Nixon than he did from Humphrey. But a different era, a different time. Amazing. We're in a time that I don't understand. Somebody said radical agendas like affordable health care and child care. Well, how Obamacare has failed. And by the way, this is the same person who helpfully told me that the monkeys were American, except for Davy Jones. But anyway, number one, if you swallow all the other guff for fake affordable health care, which is what Obamacare is, the reason the government is shut down, the primary reason, and there are others, they did want to fund illegal aliens and all that, but the primary reason is because Obamacare has failed miserably. And Obamacare was passed. We're going to play a little clip on this later. Obamacare was passed with all Democrat votes. These subsidies were passed with all Democrat votes because Obamacare was failing. Now they have to continue the scam with another $400 billion of tax dollars that we don't have. So they're not for affordable health care. They're for taking money from taxpayers to give other taxpayers affordable health insurance. Because Obamacare has failed. Their primary goal is to cover up the failure of Obamacare. Absolute failure. And the unintended consequences, since most of the lunatics who pursued Obamacare and who keep defending it want single payer and government run health insurance, they intended for this failure to happen. They knew it would happen, and then they would get to spend more money. Remember, that's always the solution. When a government program fails, they want more money. How's that worked out in education? How is that worked out in healthcare? To every American's detriment. You're paying more for your health insurance. You're getting, you're suffering from much higher deductibles, much higher copays because of Obamacare and its failure. Please remember this. When they're telling you they're compassionate and they care about your health insurance, they don't give a whit. They want power. They want to control health care in this country. And it has failed everywhere else it is being done. It's sad. And they're damaging the product, which is the best healthcare system in the world, with the way they are mismanaging it and with government involvement. What's the alternative? I'll tell you my alternative. You get rid of Medicare and you get rid of Medicaid, and anyone who can't afford health insurance premiums, which would, by the way, be much lower, would either get part of their premiums paid or all of their premiums paid to private health insurance companies. There's the alternative. There's the alternative. It's the only thing that makes sense, and you get the government out of it altogether, and we won't be suffering like this. We won't be asking for $400 billion we don't have if private interests are in charge. And those who can't afford the premiums would get them subsidized or paid for. And by the way, the $400 billion they want for affordable health care, that's in air quotes, is going directly to insurance companies. Did you know that? Child care is a separate issue. You remember the bill that was passed by the government that put all kinds of regulations on child care? And all of a sudden, child care dramatically increased for everybody? Yeah, there's your government again. And they're giving money away. And by the way, you probably fought for USAID. $50 billion a year completely wasted. How about the $93 billion that went out the door the last 3 months or 2 months after Kamala Harris lost the election from the Energy Department? There's tons of money being spent. All the wrong priorities. And they're screwing up the entire economy. And they're certainly screwing up healthcare. Obamacare is a failure, a complete failure. Please know that. Anybody who denies it is lying. That's what the government shut down over. And by the way, the other reason it's shut down is because the Democrats need to change the paradigm. They're losing. They have no issues that work. They have no policies that work. Zero, including Obamacare. Crazy stuff, guys. We'll take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. Let's hear from our great sponsors. Veterans Tribute, the weather, and then we'll go to the phones. All right, it's the Bob Cordaro Show. Colonel Wirewood Goose Gowell. We lost him May 23rd, 2024. I've held on to his obit since then. We were friends. He worked at the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton International Airport when I was county commissioner and on that board. He passed away May 23rd last year at the age of 83. He was from Scranton. He's survived by his sons, Michael and Andrew, daughters Julia and Meredith, granddaughters, a couple of former wives. Goose lived a life marked by service, dedication, and a deep love for his family and community. He was a proud graduate of Scranton Central High School, where he excelled as a multi-sport letterman. He continued his education at Syracuse University, earning a degree in political science. Inspired by his uncle, Lieutenant Colonel Dunstan Abel, Goose enlisted in the United States Air Force in 1961. Over a distinguished 27-year career, he rose to the rank of full bird colonel before retiring in 1988. He was a highly decorated combat fighter pilot, completing 100 missions in the F-105 Thunder Chief during the Vietnam War. His bravery and skill earned him the Distinguished Flying Cross. His post-war deployments included a tour in the United Kingdom as an exchange pilot with the Royal Air Force and 2 years at Clark Air Base in the Philippines. Many remember the celebrated, albeit unauthorized, high-speed, low-altitude flyby over Lake Sheridan in the early 1970s, showcasing Goose's audacious spirit. Upon retiring from the Air Force, he returned to Scranton, taking a position as business manager of the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Airport. And he did play a pivotal role in bringing the Armed Forces Air Show to the community. Just a great guy. He was laid to rest with one of the highest honors there are at Arlington National Cemetery. My old friend, Y. Gowell, our veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga, Basiliga Hospitality, including the Old Brook Inn, where we celebrated like hell on Sunday, the Far Street Tavern, the Queen City Tavern in Oliphant, and fine dining at Terra 519, where Cutie and I really enjoyed ourselves last night, and the Stegmeyer Mansion downtown Wilkes-Barre. Basiliga Hospitality and our great veterans. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly sunny with increasing clouds and showers by evening, 60 degrees. Tonight, cloudy with showers, low 42. Thursday, partly cloudy, windy, and chilly. And it's going to be about high of 48 Thursday. Friday, cloudy with showers, likely late in the day, 57. Bob Cordaro back with you and continuing the program. I said we'd get right to the phones, and let's do so. We got our man Clive from Mountaintop. How are you, Clive?
Well, I'm not real good, Bob, after Black Tuesday yesterday.
Yes, it was, wasn't
and I'll
it?
tell you, the fallout is going to linger from that for a long time.
Mhm.
And I didn't give the candidates in New Jersey and Virginia much of a chance, but never did I think that would be a shellacking that that they took. And it wasn't, Jack Ciarelli lost by 13 points, Winston Sears by. And then that character down there, Mr. Jones, whose text became known, violent text, he wins by 7 points.
That's insane. That was the one I was going to put. That is so insane. I'm like, these voters who were voting Democrat, it's beyond reckless. That's the proof that they didn't care what they were voting for.
That's exactly right. And I'll tell you, the Democratic Party is far from dead, and they certainly got a shot in the arm after yesterday.
No doubt.
And it wasn't just those two races; it was locally here. School boards,
Yep.
borough council, city council, the county council. That was a one Republican won, and now you have 8 Democrats on the county council, 3 Republicans.
Yep.
And that's a disaster. And the judges, 3 Democrat judges were retained. Two judgeships up for election, not retention, both won by Democrats. I don't know. I don't know where we're headed from here. Trump is right. He wasn't on the ballot, but and the Republicans in the Senate better get their act together because the shutdown hurt immensely.
I think they've got. I came to the conclusion this morning. I was listening to Trump speak to the Republican senators at the White House. I've come to the conclusion that they have to get rid of the filibuster. Just end it. They've got to end it because the Democrats are going to do it anyway. So why not use it and pass legislation so that people could see what Republicans stand for instead of having Democrats block it?
You're right. Do it, move on, and that's the end of it.
And deal with it.
They have that. There's only 2 choices, that and the Republicans cave. And that's my worst fear because they cave and cave and cave even when they're in power. And that certainly was shown in Trump's first term. So something better give here and give soon, or it's going to be a disaster.
And I was for the filibuster remaining in place, and for some of you that don't follow it as closely, essentially in the United States Senate, which is how the Democrats have been able to shut the government down. You need 60 votes to stop a filibuster, which is, they don't happen. They used to happen if anybody saw Mr. Smith Goes to Washington with Jimmy Stewart. You used to have to talk, and you could talk forever about anything. That was the filibuster. Now, you don't even have to do that. But you need 60 votes to pass anything in the U.S. Senate. It had value. That value, the time of value for it is past, and the Republicans better get their act together and get rid of it.
Well, they better, because as it stands now, the Democrats are in the catbird seat. They're watching the polls. All the polls are blaming the Republicans, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So it's crunch time, and something better happen here in the next few days. And I agree, the filibuster needs to go. Break the shutdown and move on. Put it behind you and move on.
And then start passing
legislation.
Then, see, that's the other part is they'll start passing a lot of legislation that has been near and dear to conservatives for a long time, and that legislation and those policies will work. And none of it can get passed if they don't get rid of the filibuster, because the Democrats will block anything, no matter how good it is.
Absolutely. So we're in some pretty dire straits, my friend, and I'm concerned.
I will say this. I don't think that I don't look forward. I don't look at the midterms and say, oh, my God, it's going to be a disaster because of what happened yesterday. A world of events is going to occur before the midterms. So it's a different story. But, yeah, the local voters around here are just brain dead. It's just what is.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
All right, my
and
man.
We pay the price for it.
I know it.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Clive. Hey, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. Now, who didn't try to imitate that? That's the Commodores. Murph tells us this date, 1977. They moved up to number 5 with their hit Brick House. And Ronald Reagan. And the letter was beautiful. But this is a 2013 report regarding President Ronald Reagan disclosing he had Alzheimer's disease back in 1994. It was a more beautiful version of old soldiers don't die, they just fade away. It was just, his letter was eloquent. And he did. He faded from view. Well, let's go right to the phones. And we'll go to start with Larry from Plymouth, only because he has his own theme song. And we haven't heard from him in a while. So let's see what he's got to say. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Bob. Bob, I got one thing to say. It's over. It is over, Bob. There's next. Rob Bresnahan is going to lose. I'm predicting that right now.
Okay.
He's going to lose. We're probably going to lose the House, possibly the Senate, which is going to make Trump a lame duck. He's not going to get anything done, which means we're going to lose in 28.
Well, let me say this. There's an even more important and imminent threat to his foreign policy and the American economy, and that is if, for some reason, and it's possible, the conservative members of the Supreme Court say that he has overstepped his authority with the tariffs, which he's been using masterfully to negotiate fairer trade deals with foreign countries. If that goes, that's going to be a hell of a blow. Larry, I happen to think that this was a wake-up call for normal voters to recognize they've got to do their job, because these, I keep saying it, these left-wing lunatics, they ain't going away. The Democrats who follow them, they're not going away. One of our listeners texted in. They said, if you'd like to know why yesterday happened, he gives an example. My voting district in Hanover Township had 20% voter turnout.
Oh, when I went down to vote yesterday, Bob, there was only one person in front of me.
Yeah.
One. And I'll tell you what, it's I just don't. And you know what it is? It's these young voters under 40, Bob. They are voting. They're indoctrinated. They're stupid, and they want everything for nothing. And that's what these people are pushing. And I don't know. I can't believe down here in Luzerne County, I can't believe that Walter Griffith lost.
He lost? Wow.
I mean, that guy, he was great, and I can't believe the guy lost.
Frightening.
There's something wrong with people. They're drinking something, or I don't know what it is. And Bob, I'm going to tell you one thing. There's only one thing that's going to save this country, and I don't think you or a lot of people have the guts for it. And that's a civil war. That's a civil war.
Well,
that's the only thing that's going to save us.
I think that's crazy, but let me say this. I was going to really start promoting it if Trump had lost the last election. But I think we've got to start thinking about it now, which is dividing the country and let the left have their states.
But see,
they're just too damaging. Their ideology is too sick and twisted for any opportunity to share. We just can't.
But people, Bob, are voting by their pocketbook. When you go to the store and you pay $7 for a pound of hamburger, which I don't do because I don't eat meat, that is insane.
Yeah,
$7 for a pound of ham. It's
but
crazy,
how quickly they forget who caused the problem.
I know.
It's insane.
Well,
now we've got unique issues regarding beef and beef herds, both in this country and abroad, which are continuing to exacerbate the problem. But it goes back to Biden and the Green New Deal, and they don't get it. It's crazy.
Well, Bob, you're talking about stupid people. I hear them on your show every day. You're talking to stupid people. And I don't know. But I'm done with that. But just one thing. You thought the Monkees were English?
Yes.
Oh, gee. Do you know their names, Bob?
No.
Peter Tork, Mike Nesmith, Davy Jones, and Mickey Dolenz. And Mickey Dolenz,
I remember that name.
The drummer.
Yep.
He played on a TV show back in the late 50s called Circus Boy. And who was his uncle? The guy who played, I can't remember his name, the guy who played Jim Rockford, James Garner, to play his father on the Rockford Files. That was his uncle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't. One of our great listeners pointed it out. Even though they're Democrats, they pointed it out to me that they were Americans, except for Davy Jones.
The song I like by the Monkees is "I'm a Believer."
Yeah, that's a great song.
That's a good one.
Great song.
So, but that's the way I'm thinking, Bob, and we'll find out.
I mean, night and day. Anything could happen between now and the midterms.
I hope it does.
By the way,
it does.
It most often does happen.
I hope something does really good happen. I mean, but you got too many haters out there, Bob.
No doubt.
Okay.
Hey,
thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Larry. Always
I'll
a
see
pleasure.
you, Bob. Okay,
Always
bye.
a pleasure. And check in more often, would you? By the way, ex-grader guy checking in. He says, LTS, Bob, child care is outrageous. I paid almost $26,000 last year for 3 kids to go to daycare. And these centers are not fancy. They're not high-end. But me and my wife have to work. And so we've got to pay out that $26,000. I mean, people have to start saying, I know for my own kids, they have to start saying, all right, $26,000 after tax. What am I taking in? Take the spouse who makes the lesser amount of money. What are they netting after the cost of getting to work, feeding themselves at work? Like, add it all in, and then take their taxes out and say, all right, should this person be working? Should both spouses be working? The answer in a surprising number of cases would be no. They shouldn't be working. I was fortunate. We had the opportunity to have my wife at the time. She didn't have to work, so she raised the kids. We didn't have daycare costs. But with government involvement, daycare costs have skyrocketed, and it's off the charts. Did you imagine $26,000 a year? I think that's more than I net at this job. Yeah. So we got to make these decisions. All right, we've got to take a break because it is the news time. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me so. That's 11:01 and change. Let's hear the news with Brian Hughes. We'll come back, and we've got retiring great coach of Lackawanna College, Mark Duda, coming up. We'll talk to him after the news. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:10 and change here in the great Northeast. This beautiful Wednesday, November 5, 2025. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and as we head to the weekend, Basiliga hospitality, top of mind, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we lost this year and last, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like Colonel Wirewood, Goose, Gowell, Scranton, Matthew Casciano, West Scranton, and Jack Walsh, North Abington Township. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense after a brief news adjournment, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you for the balance of the hour. Well, Mark Duda has been, he's just been on the scene in football and sports for so long. I got to know him initially when I was part of the committee that helped create the football team at Lackawanna College under Joe Morelli. And they wanted to hire a guy named Wally Chambers, a former Chicago Bear. And it was my view. I said, you better get an actual coach, because I don't think Wally wants to really, get under the hood here. And Mark Duda was the solution. He became head coach shortly thereafter. And he is the winningest coach in the NJCAA, 217 career victories. He's produced over 450 NCAA Division I athletes, and he's helped produce more than 25 players who went on to sign NFL contracts. Now, before he went to Lackawanna, he was a standout athlete of his own. He had 13 sacks, a school record that still stands at the University of Maryland. Oh, I'm sorry, it was broken in 2015. After his college career, he was the 96th overall pick in the NFL draft, the 1983 NFL draft. He played 5 seasons in the NFL, starting 34 games, appearing in 55, recording 9.5 sacks. Player, coach, leader, mentor. He's retiring, but man, he gave us some great years. Mark Duda, welcome to the Bob Cordaro Show. How are you?
Nice to be here, Bob. I'm doing fine. What's happening?
Well, Coach, I guess everything great has to come to an end. Tell us what went into your decision, because you've been doing it a lot of years.
Well, I have been here for a long period of time, like 32 years as a head guy, and I really enjoyed all of it. But, this year, last year, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, which, as you guys know, is kind of a neurological disease that has some pretty, ill effects as you go along. And I'm going to be 65 years old here in February. And so I really thought that I'd try my best this year to see how I could do, but I don't think I'm as good as I should be and as productive as I should be. And the last thing, and you know me, Bob, from all the way back then, the last thing I'm ever going to do is cheat these kids. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Never. All right. So once I realized that fact, I would get through this year. We have 2 more games to go, and then I'll be at the school full time for a little while longer to help with those guys, find a new coach, and then eventually I'm going to retire. But I think this place has been such a large part of my life. I mean, my Lord, I met my wife here. My daughter Taylor, grew up in these hallways, and it is bittersweet for sure.
You were a young kid. It's you and I'm 60. I'm going to be 65 myself in February. You don't realize 30 years ago you were a kid when you came to Lackawanna.
Yeah, I really was. I was 31.
but I had never really, I played in the league till I was like 29.
Yeah.
And so I never really, I never knew. I knew I wanted to coach, certainly, but I didn't know, where. And I'm a local guy. I'm from Plymouth, Pennsylvania originally, and I was living in Dallas at the time. And I remember you guys being on the board. It was wild, like the committee. And I remember not getting the job, but being the defensive coordinator that first year. And Wally Chambers was the head coach. The following year, I became the head coach with the thoughts of maybe being here for a few years.
Yeah.
To start to kind of get it under my belt and then do what all coaches do, right? Move around the country in a haphazard way in their career. And then I met Denise Yankowski, who is now Denise Duda here at the school, and just really settled in here and found so many challenges here, but so many good things too. And all the presidents, as you know, Dr. Morelli, and then, Ray Angeli and Mark Volk.
Yeah.
And, of course, now, it just keeps going on and on and on. And now Jill Murray. So I've been through a lot here, but a lot of great things have happened along the way.
That is one thing. Did you envision that when you just started, because you were saying, yeah, and this might be a stepping stone for me as a coach, did you envision that Lackawanna's football program would make this much of a mark nationally?
I really didn't. I knew that, we had an opportunity to garner some interest from some players because, like, Bob, all of my friends are former players.
Yeah.
And all my friends coach. And so we knew we had a network, but no idea that we have, Outland Trophy winners and first-round draft choices and all these people along the way have done such a great job. I think the program has grown and grown and grown to the point where now we're a viable option to be the Division II team in the PSAC, which I think is a huge, huge thing. And I think the school is ready for that, and certainly it affords more opportunities for these guys too. So it's been, if I would have said I would have thought that was the case, I'd have to be lying. For sure.
It's amazing. And, we were so lucky to have you at the helm for all of these years to guide that program and the school to fame. And everybody in football, in college football, knows Lackawanna College. They know the deal. They say it's a great place. They produced all these professional players. Duda's been the guy. 25 players who went on to sign NFL contracts. 450 that went on to NCAA Division I. It's really remarkable, and you got to take the credit for it, Coach. You got to take the credit for it. I know you won't, so I'll give it to you. But man, it just shows, get your lunch pail and go to work every day and look what you produced.
I don't think there's any question. I think it's more, I think it was more perspiration and inspiration for sure.
Yeah.
But, I think that's the nature of being a football coach. I remember I talked to somebody in the media a while back. They said, what are your hobbies? And I for the life of me, I can't think of one. I don't have any. Right? So I said, well, I don't have any hobbies, but I do coach football, and I do that. And they're like, well, that's your job. I said, well, I don't really think it's a job. I really never thought it was, and so I've loved it to such a degree for such a long period of time. And hopefully that enthusiasm has gone to my players, and they understand that it's true, right? It's a true thing, and I think getting these guys educated is so important. I had the luxury of talking to somebody yesterday, and they said, well, aren't you proud of the NFL guys? Well, certainly, right? Mark Lewinsky and, oh my God, Tyre Brown and all these guys, certainly I am. But here's what I'm proud of the most, and I'm so glad I have your show to speak about it, is when a community will allow people to come and embrace their dreams, and then those people in turn go out and become 4-year educated people with their degrees and get great jobs and great lives. We helped a lot more people than ones you see on TV. And so those guys, to me, are the are the difference maker. The guys that help go to the National Football League, man, that's fantastic. But the guys we help become teachers, we have lawyers, we have all those people. Those guys really made a huge impact in my life, and that's probably really why I stayed.
Man, you think, and by the way, until you took over as head coach, there were some iffy days very early on, discipline issues, all kinds of things. And you came in and you took that on, and you became a leader of young men that, and I'll tell you, every football coach I had was a little bit crazy. I never heard that about you. I have to say.
It was a very inauspicious start when the program began. I think that, everybody had the right interest. I think you guys did. The board did. I think Dr. Morelli did. I think everybody had the right interest at heart. But, maybe the first selection as head coach might have been not quite as good as it maybe should have been. But you don't know going in, right? So you give it a chance.
Well, no, some of us knew.
Some of you might have known.
Well, some of us believed we're gonna have an issue here. Thank God we got Duda.
The year that Mr. Wally left, and I remember sitting down there with Dr. Morelli, and Joe goes, "Well, hey Mark, what are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Doc, I mean, this is pretty screwed up, right?" I said I can do things, but you have to give me the hammer. You have to give me the ability to remove people that really don't belong here and to bring in people that do. And they did. To all your interests, all you guys, Bob, all you guys did that. You said, "Coach, kind of square this thing off, and so you allowed me to do it, and that's what we did. And lo and behold, the following year we were 9-2 on the field, and all of our kids graduated, and it was one of those situations where we moved forward. But you had to have a leap of faith there as well, and you guys did. So I commend you guys for that.
Hey, Coach Duda, so are you symptomatic or substantially symptomatic with the Parkinson's right now?
It's just beginning. It's I'm in the beginning, like not stages of it. I guess I don't know if there's stages, but I was diagnosed last February, and I take some medication. I do some things, and I'm certainly functional. But as you know, with that disease, that dreaded disease, there's not a cure, and it's a matter of sort of like taking the symptoms and making them as least as possible. So I'm doing really well, and hope to do really well. But certainly I am not as spry as I was a few years ago.
And there's a lot of stress to running the program, coaching the games, being as into it as you are, dealing with the kids, disciplining the kids, all of that would add to the problem, I'm sure.
A little bit. Like my doctor was, I have doctors who are really great people, and one of them said, like, what do you do for a living? And I told him, and he was like, he shook his head, right? And he said, well, Mark, that's probably not the living you want to have with what you have. And I said, Doc, I understand. I just want to finish kind of what I started. And so I said, let me go through this year and this season, and let's just finish this, because I think it's really if you can do it, it's really hard on kids if you leave them. I just think it's best to do it that way. So I told those guys on Monday, I told my team and everybody what the situation was. I didn't sugarcoat it or lie to them. I tell them the truth, and then it really is the best way to go about this. And once again, I think it's if I have to be done, then by God, it will be done the right way.
Well, we're lucky to have you still with us to be able to guide towards the next choice, because I think that it was taken for granted for so many years now, the amazing job that you did with the program and at the school, that we're gonna need you to help pick that next coach.
Right, and Dr. Murray and
He's great.
Both have been fantastic, and they said, Mark, we would like you so much to stay on to help us kind of get through this process, so we pick the right people, and so we can kind of move forward. And I would like nothing better than to help this place survive. I love this place. Everybody knows it. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that it is as good as it can ever be. There's no question about that.
Well, Coach Mark Duda, Lackawanna College, thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done for the area and for that great institution. We appreciate it, and thanks for checking in with us.
Thanks for having me on, Bob.
All right.
Take care.
Mark Duda, head coach, retiring at Lackawanna College after an amazing, successful career there. He made the program what it is and helped make the college what it is. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our friend John Basiliga. And today we feature just one of his great companies as we start thinking about the weekend and maybe even what we're doing tonight. 3 amazing bar restaurants, and I love them all. Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant, the Far Street Tavern, the reimagined neighborhood bar in the great Trips Park section of West Scranton, and the Old Brook Inn where I was with Cutie and a gang Sunday up on Route 307. Man, I had the bone marrow and steak tartare. Everything was off the charts. Fine dining, yeah, we got that too. The Stegmeyer Mansion in an old world setting, downtown Wilkes-Barre. And a Terra 519, a modern Manhattan feel, gorgeous restaurant. Cutie and I stopped by last night and enjoyed it, loved it as usual. Fine dining like you'd never thought we'd see in Northeast PA. John Jack Walsh III. We lost him June 27th this year. He was 79. He was from North Abington Township. He's survived by his beloved wife, Leanna Nicholas Walsh. Born in Scranton, he was a proud graduate of Dunmore High School and the University of Scranton. He was a dedicated professional investment broker and advisor for over 50 years. He managed local branches for several large investment firms. Since 2000, Jack owned and operated Stonehill Investments with his son Jason, guiding countless individuals and businesses with his expertise, experience, and integrity. He was a proud veteran of the United States Army Reserves, loyal member of the Friendly Sons of St. Patrick, avid golfer. That's where I got to know him and love him. He had a passion for the game. He enjoyed hunting, particularly when there were steaks on the grill afterwards. He was fun. He treasured his relationships, including his decades-long friendship with those closest to him. He always put family first, valued loyalty in others, and was a role model in demonstrating high integrity in all things professional and personal. In addition to his wife, Leanna, Jack is survived by his loving children, a daughter, Jennifer Walsh Clark, sons John IV and Jason, and his wife, Christina, all of North Abington Township. He also leaves behind his cherished grandchildren and many other family members. A great guy, Jack Walsh. Our veteran this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, partly sunny with increasing clouds and showers by evening, 60 degrees. Tonight, cloudy with showers, 42. Thursday, partly cloudy, windy, chilly, 48. Friday, cloudy with showers likely late in the day, 57. Okay, it's going to get cold. It's going to get warmer. I was talking to Gene Barrett last night, and obviously very disappointed with the results. I mean, it was a blowout. And I think the same thing would hold true for Trish Bynum. They ran campaigns. They put themselves on the line. I was telling them, I said, yeah, you'd be upset. You could be shocked, all of that. But the fact is, you put yourself out there. You offered your services. If the voters choose to go in another direction, which they did, that's not your fault. It's nothing you should feel badly about. And frankly, I said, the fact that it wasn't close, you can't even worry about woulda, coulda, shouldas. But you've done a service to the community. You're out there. You offered yourself. And I'd say that to all the candidates. You offered yourself. You offered, ideally, your vision. And it's something to be proud of. And they really are. Anyway, That was the deal. Election day, crazy, and hanging for a while patiently is our friend Donald from Pittston. How are you, Donald?
Okay, good. Now let's see what happened here. Okay, they had an agenda and they executed it. It started with February with those fake cuts to Medicaid, and then what they did, they went out the Democrats and they ran veterans who ran as Democratic centrists.
Yep.
And then the shutdown. This is all by design. This is no different. What happened was a perfect tsunami. The Republicans got hit with, just like Obama when the Tea Party crushed him in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
But when you and Clive are real smart and we're smart, the only way you're going to solve this is get rid of that stupid filibuster, because then you're going to be able to identify good policies versus bad policies. Without getting rid of that filibuster, nothing's ever going. You're going to have this happen back and forth like a pendulum, the seesaw.
And people don't like it. They don't like inactivity. They blame it on the party in power. The Republicans are getting they deserve zero blame for the shutdown, but they're getting a substantial part of it. And you can't allow that to happen.
Oh, Claiborne wanted it, Harris wanted it. Now they don't want it. Hey, you got to have it. This way you can distinguish good policies from bad policies.
Amen.
You won't have to wait a whole election cycle like with what happened with Biden, how horribly was the open borders and stuff. You have the filibuster, then they'll know what's good and what's bad, and we can keep the good. Now, when she ran, I have a home in Virginia. She ran to Spangelberger, right? She's a veteran. She has 3 daughters. Her ads were, she was like the blonde-haired Mother Teresa, Bob. I'll protect your kids from the trans authorities, and you wouldn't even know, like 3 years ago when she was supporting the nonsense with Biden. You know,
Yep.
They ran totally different. They ran this time.
These Democrats have run on lies, we had a mayor do it in Scranton. Again, just a miniature version, and I'm like, well, people fell for this. Obviously, they voted in the clown who wished a political opponent's kids dead. It's insane.
Right. Do you think really that Biden never would have won? He was up on Taj Mountain. I'm Scranton Joe with the rosary beads, and I'm gonna, I'm this great centrist. I'll bring the country together. And he had open borders and everything against it. He made transgender holiday out of Easter and everything. No one would ever went near Joe Biden if he ran the way he governed. You know that.
I know.
He governed so far to the left.
Well, the Obama gang created an image and a brand for him, which stole from the people of Northeast Pennsylvania, specifically Scranton, and he betrayed that for sure.
What we got to do, right? You're right. What we got to do, though, is get rid of that filibuster. Get rid of it now and stop it. Stop. I don't know why John Kennedy's a good senator in Louisiana. I think he wants to keep it, but you got to get rid of it. And you can't worry about what they're going to enact, because they're going to enact it anyway.
They're going to do it anyway.
The filibuster is God once they get in 2 years.
And you're hastening you're increasing the chances that it will go away, because if you're ineffective in the U.S. Senate, the people will punish you. Thank you, my man.
And they're going to give another fake impeachment in 2 years. We have the script right here.
I know.
It's just because they're going to do it. So let's get rid of that filibuster and move on. And get good policies in your God country and good energy, affordable energy, and let's do it. Let's get rid of the filibuster. That should be our main thing right now.
Amen.
To enact the Trump policies so they can see how good they work, and then they won't want to go back the other way.
Amen, Donald. Thank you. Andrew from Jersey, thank you for your patience, my friend.
Hey, Bob, you're right. And they flipped and they ran as moderates here in New Jersey. I was appalled because I thought it would be close. And sorry about that. And I'm causing a scene because of my grief. But she was like Kamala Harris, flip-flopping and going back on all her radical leftist stances, and she couldn't answer the question. So I was like appalled.
When somebody doesn't know, this is the Democrat candidate for governor in New Jersey. we're talking about, when she did not have an answer for how she made
Right.
$7 million
Right.
on stock trades as a congressperson, I was saying, if that doesn't disqualify her, are these Democrats that rabid about party affiliation that they're going to turn down a guy who would be great as a governor in Jersey for this
And
empty vessel? We did it in
and you
Scranton.
would be in jail.
Yep.
You were sent to jail. If we did that, we would be in jail. And also, there were bomb threats, 14 different precincts that were heavily Republican, so that deterred the vote. And Dennis Prager said it best. He said, there's voting fraud, and, like, somehow it always helps the Democrats. He's like, well, maybe it is just a coincidence. And in New York City, you chose the fakeness of the press. He did the same. He flipped on all his positions. But it was up to Andrew Cuomo in the debate to point out, well, you're a Democrat socialist. They want to defund the police. They don't want prisons. So shows how the press didn't ask him those simple, questions about his radicalism. But they're going to pay the price in the city, and the kids are going to find out that it was just a phony promises. And now they ruined Pennsylvania, from what you're saying, because I was going to bail out to Pennsylvania because I thought, well, that'll be nice, like maybe South Carolina, but that's far. Texas is far. But I'll still be close to my relatives.
If we didn't
now
have a
that's ruined.
Republican-controlled state Senate in Pennsylvania, this state would become a ghost town with the leadership it has. 3 ridiculous Supreme Court justices just got retained. It's nutty stuff. But thank you, Andrew, as always. Hey, we got to take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We'll return. This date, 1988, and one of the great stories Murph tells us of rock history, the Beach Boys moved to number one, their fifth number one hit, and first in 22 years with that great song, Kokomo. And I did not know this either, featuring John Stamos on the drums. And we're going to finish with Jimmy Buffett, same feel, same vibe, this date, 2003. He won his first country music award for his duet with Alan Jackson. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And after yesterday's results, I think more than a few of us are saying, man, is it 5 o'clock yet? Somebody touching on this, that ending the filibuster is complete moronic idea. You end the filibuster, and when, not if, the Democrats get back in power, they will run everything they've been wanting to do for years. The Second Amendment will be nothing more than something written on paper. That's just the start. Here's the problem with your argument and premise. They're going to do it anyway. When they get control of the Senate, they will do it anyway. In my view, the only chance, and I seldom agree with Trump on politics, the only thing that will keep Republicans in control of the U.S. Senate and the House is if they are effective in legislation. You see how foolishly people vote, how blindly they vote, how they listen to the media about everything. If the Republicans are not effective when they're in power, they will lose that power, period. They've got to get rid of the filibuster to be effective. The Democrats are going to do that anyway when they gain control. So why give them a better chance to gain control? That's the scary thing. Hey, let's go to Tom from Edwardsville to take one last call for the day. How are you, Tom?
Oh, not bad. No, not really. I'm very, very humongously disappointed in yesterday's results.
Awful, yeah.
What I really want to know, with your expert research people, I really want to know how much external to this area's money went into the local elections versus local funding of the local
the two races that experienced the most out-of-town money was Luzerne County Council for the Democrats and for Paige Cognetti, mayor of Scranton. Those are the two. And it was tens of thousands of dollars.
I mean, some of the results are just, we have to provide a mechanism where we take IQs before someone can vote. To take a 79-year-old person who's thoroughly unqualified to be anything financial, let alone a county controller, and elect a person above a competent
incumbent
person who's
crazy.
Before in front of a competent person who's been doing the job great.
Yep.
I mean, the people here have got to be either stupid as hell or nuts.
Not to say the Republicans haven't had their share of incompetence, but I will tell you this. In this area, you generally can't be incompetent if you're a Republican, or you won't get elected because the Republicans won't vote for you. But the Democrats will vote for anyone with that party label. Anybody. Yeah. It's insane. I don't get it.
We really need to see dollar numbers. Like, how much was spent by outside the area?
The last figure I saw, and you won't know till the reports after the election, the last figure I saw was at least $55,000 for the, and remember, last time it was $170,000 for Democrats for county council in Luzerne County. National left-wing organizations based out of Washington, D.C. have really focused on Luzerne County Council, and it's been to the detriment of the Republicans.
Gotta be. And the thing is, this country is going down the tubes very fast because of the focus on party rather than the person running for office. And I don't know if there's a fix for that before the country goes under.
The Democrat Party has a disease. It's got communist disease. It's got some evil at the core of its ideology, and yet normal people, seemingly normal people, are still voting for that. They literally voted in Virginia to elect as the chief law enforcement in that state, officer in that state, someone who imagined killing children of his political opponents. We're in scary territory. That's why we play. The battle is over, but the war goes on after the Trump election, and we've played it every day since, because these lunatics are not going away, and they've got a lot of dummy-crat followers. There's nothing we can do about it. We've got to keep, and our turnout is not good.
It's just...
it's disheartening, but we've got to go and vote. Thank you, man. We got to go for the day. Guys, God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow at 9. We'll continue to pick up the pieces because we're not giving up. We're not going anywhere. I promise you. But for today, we've got to call to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense and gavel it to be so. Have a great afternoon.